so I guess you can start by introducing yourself.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. As you guys join in, I would like to let you know my name is Achaia Ravizee. Can you see me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. My name is Achaia Ravizee. I am the founder and CEO of Beyond Boundaries Global Leadership and STEM Academy, where we will be teaching students how to learn STEM subjects based off of the way that they learn. My background is in optical engineering. I have my undergraduate degree in optical engineering and my master's degree in engineering management. So I've kind of traveled along the engineering path, and it's led me to develop my STEM Academy. And I currently work as a program analyst for the Department of Defense.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
Melanie,
you.
and I'm a high school student in New Jersey.
Ooh.
And I co-founded this nonprofit organization called Girl Tech Boss. And basically, through this organization, we try to inspire girls to pursue not only STEM, but higher level authority positions of STEM, such as, entrepreneurship. And we really just want to empower women, empower girls to, not follow along with stereotypes and to, be themselves. And yeah, so we've been basically doing events and trying to branch out and really trying to be able to connect with other girls and other women like yourself.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's awesome. I commend both of us
thanks.
for going down the STEM journey and for doing what we do as women in STEM.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right, so I guess we can kick it off with some of the questions.
Alrighty, cool.
All right, so the first question is, in 20 years, where do you see the world of STEM? And I think really in the past 10 years, we've seen such a growth and development in technology, especially. If you think
Right.
about it, like the iPhone, the iPad, laptops, everything, it's changing, and robots too. So I really think in the next, I mean, not even next 20 years, next couple of years, we're going to really see a large development in those fields, and we're going to see more things. I think about robots. I remember seeing there's a lot of stuff in the news right now about robotic surgeries and things like that, where I feel like we're really branching out in terms of technology. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely true. That's definitely true. I commend your ability to even know about that at a high school level, because when I
Thank
was in high school, I knew I was good at math, I was good at science, but I didn't necessarily know I wanted to be an engineer until it was time to pick a major in college.
you.
So I'm sitting down, I'm trying to think like, okay, what do I want to do? I know what I'm good at. And then I was like, all right, let's just choose engineering. So that's awesome. That's
Hmm.
really awesome.
Yeah, and I think also just kind of like adding on to that, I think a lot of women have pressure on themselves to, have everything figured out, and people in general have a lot of pressure on themselves to make sure that they have like a clear path in mind. And
Right.
myself, I feel like sometimes like I kind of like shrink that, and I really try
Mhm.
and figure out like my path, figure out exactly what I'm doing. And sometimes it's just better to see what comes your way, and to kind
Yep.
of like take up like different opportunities and try things that you might not seem interested in at first, but to just kind of give it a try. So that's
Yep.
yeah, so I definitely understand that, and I agree with what you said.
Yeah, that's definitely true. That's definitely true. All right, I'll kick off with the second question. What impact do you want to leave on the world of STEM? So for me, growing up, not everyone that I was used to seeing in my hallways were in my classes. I was in calculus, I was in trigonometry, pre-calculus, all these subjects that people consider, hard
Hmm.
before I graduated high school. So the impact that I want to leave on STEM is to allow everybody to be able to understand the subjects, not just one group, one nationality, but everybody. So that's kind of the purpose of my academy, to teach all of the STEM subjects starting K through 5 in a way that everybody will understand based off the way they learn. Again, like I said, growing up, not everybody was all in the same classes. Not
Hmm.
I wasn't in the same classes as some of my friends. So I just kind of would like to see the myth of math being hard and science being hard kind of just dissolved.
Yeah, and definitely keeping everything open, to, as you said, all different nationalities, all different backgrounds. And, that's something that we really try to aim for, at Girl Tech Boss as well. And yeah, I think that it's great that you guys are keeping it open and really trying to be able to make sure everybody has opportunities, equal opportunities. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's really great what you're doing.
Yeah, and for me, it's kind of like my passion. I knew, like I said, that I was good at mathematics. I knew, like I said, that I was good in science, but now that I'm actually in working in a career as a program analyst, I'm seeing that, you know what, I want to invest in what I like to do. I want to invest in the things that make me happy. And for me, seeing giving back and seeing others understand subjects that they once would not have learned without my help or without my team's help, it's going to actually make me feel better about what I'm doing. It's going to be make me feel better about my community service initiatives and all the great things that we want to do. So giving back for me in the STEM world is definitely going to be my avenue for moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And you mentioned a little bit in there, you being like a programmer analyst. Do you kind of mind
Right.
like explaining a little bit more about that? I'm just kind of intrigued by kind of like that occupation.
No problem. So it's two sides, it's two groups in our group of where I work. So we have one group that basically tries to determine how long and how many resources it's going to take to fix nuclear ships. And then, in simplest terms, the other group kind of prices out how much all that work is going to cost. I work for the Department of Defense, and I've traveled to the Philadelphia foundry where they make the propellers for naval ships. I've traveled to the submarine base in Florida, Kings Bay, Georgia, and I've also traveled to a conference in DC where we kind of learned the programming method and the software that we use is called the SMM ship maintenance model. So it's kind of just one side learning how much it's going to take to get the nuclear ships fixed, and on the other side determining for the Department of Navy and Department of Defense how much it's going to cost.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's actually really cool. And it's cool how you're able to kind of like use some of like your previous knowledge before and kind of like add that and, inspire other people, in education
Right.
in terms of
Right.
STEM.
And that's one thing I will tell you, for you now, you might not really see the big picture of why am I in this class, or am I actually going to use this method, these problems I'm learning how to do, am I actually going to use this
Mm-hmm.
when I actually get in college and when I actually get in my career. But the one thing I will say, even if you don't use necessarily every technique, every math problem that you learn, what it's teaching you is, one, how to be teachable. It's teaching you how to learn a subject, master it, and then you regurgitating it on your math test and on your science test. It's that process is teaching you what you will have to learn in an everyday job sense. So with me, I'll learn different things, have to study it, have to regurgitate it, and have to study and then regurgitate it back in a manner in reports and different things that I do. So the things you're learning now, you'll definitely be able to apply in real life, situations
Mm-hmm.
once you get to your career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really appreciate you actually saying that. I feel like me in high school, I'm like, oh my goodness, when can I, get to college and, try different things? And sometimes it's hard when you're, in math class or science class or whatever class, and you're like, is this really necessary for me to, learn right now? But as you said, it
Right.
is really important for us. And I mean, right now I'm actually doing robotics. I'm on my school's robotics team, and
Oh, no,
it's
that's
kind of nice being
awesome.
able to apply some like the stuff that I'm learning in pre-calc or chemistry and physics, especially physics, to be able to apply that to what I'm learning. So I definitely
Yeah.
think that school is important, also with collaborating with others, and as you said, doing research, writing up papers, things like that. Those things are very necessary, and I think that it's great that you're highlighting that through your program.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely.
All right, I'm gonna move on to the next question. Um, okay, so why did you fall in love with STEM? I'd probably say my very first large STEM experience was probably in fifth grade. I was actually part of this program called Odyssey of the Mind. I don't know if you ever heard of it before.
Oh,
It's
wow,
not
no,
it's
I
not like
haven't.
exactly STEM, but it's definitely engineering. And you basically have to work with a very low budget. I think it's like $100 or something around that point. And basically you have to engineer like this giant set and put on like this whole play out of recyclable items, and it's a lot of problem
Oh,
solving. And yeah, so anyways, I actually had a great mentor when I was in fifth grade, and she kind of, I think this actually goes along with another question that was asked, but I think she really motivated me to kind of like think outside the box and to problem solve. And that she also gave me different power tools and taught me how to build. which was definitely like a great experience and just really excited me. So from that point onwards, we went to Worlds for Odyssey of the Mind, and we did really well competing wise. And I don't know, it was just a great experience, and it really motivated me to look into robotics and other things like that. So I guess that's kind of how my whole STEM journey started.
Yeah, it's so awesome that you have had access to those type of
Yeah,
experiences and to
really.
those type of mentors at your age. I mean, literally by the time you are my age, because I'm 28, so by the time you are my age, you will be running this STEM world. And I
Yeah.
just commend you so much for your endeavors and what you choose to do with your time, because oftentimes if kids aren't forced to excel, if kids aren't forced to study, if kids aren't forced to do well in school, sometimes they won't. So for you to have that initiative and that drive innate in you to just go out and be a great woman in STEM, a great woman of robotics, is just awesome.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying that. And that's something that we're
No
really trying to
problem.
do at Girl Tech Boss is we're really trying to, empower women and also connect women too. I mean, we did an interview series where, we interview women who are very accomplished STEM entrepreneurs. And through like the series, which actually we were able to, really connect with a lot of girls through that. Girls can kind of learn and I don't know, just kind of like feel empowered and motivated, which is definitely something that I kind of see in myself and see in other girls. Being motivated and getting out there and accomplishing things is so important. And yeah, so I'm just very excited for that too.
Okay, cool. All right. So before I go to the next question, guys, anybody that's in our live, if you have any questions for us, please type your questions out. If you want to ask us anything, or if you want to pull anything from our brains, just let us know. Type your question up, and we'll answer that for you. So the next question is, if you won the Nobel Peace Prize, what STEM mentors would you thank? So I would have to start out by saying I would thank my mom, my godmother, Zenora Spellman, and Alicia McLean. Initially, I did not want to necessarily be an engineer. I was good at math, and I wanted to be a math teacher. My mom is a teacher, so I was like, okay, cool, I'll be a teacher. My mom was not having it. She was like, you should be an engineer. If you're good at math, you should reach for the stars and really challenge yourself.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll think about it. And not until I sat down with my godmom one Saturday afternoon, we walked through different type of engineers that we could be. We were Googling a whole bunch of different things. And I was like, okay, you know what, maybe I'll become an engineer. So I would first have to thank my mom and my godmom for initially getting me started on my STEM journey.
Hmm.
And then Zenora Spellman and Alicia McLean are my mentors that I had in college. Zenora Spellman was my academic advisor for a couple of the extracurricular activities I did.
Hmm.
Thurgood Marshall College Fund, I was the ambassador for that. And NSBE, I had a brain fart there. NSBE, the National Society of Black Engineers, and Thurgood Marshall College Fund, where in both of those settings, I kind of was, for NSBE, the secretary, vice president, and president of the organization. And Zenora Spellman her major was computer science. So she kind of took me under her wing and really showed me what leadership was and how to be a STEM leader. And Dr. McLean, she is the director of the scholarship program I was in. I was in DNEMIS, which is a short acronym for the Desorts National Institute for Mathematics and Applied Sciences. Kind of a long name, but it's a scholarship program for everybody who wants to be in STEM: computer science, mathematics, biology, engineering, physics, all of those subjects. So a combination of all four: my mom, my godmom for getting me started down the STEM road, and then Zenora Spellman and Alicia McLean for kind of taking me under their wing during college, when I could have been distracted by a multitude of things, but instead, because of their leadership, I was able to develop into the STEM leader that I am now.
Wow, that's really amazing. And I really think that it's great, you were able to kind of grow up and have like that support. And, mentioning before, kind of like with Odyssey of the Mind for me, I think having like people there that are supporting you and motivating you throughout the way is so important. And, it's
Right.
amazing that you were kind of able to now do that for other people as well. So yeah,
Right.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. And like I said, for you, you'll be fine. You just keep reaching out to the mentors that you have. And the biggest thing is to stay in contact with them.
Hmm.
So some of the mentors that you've met already, stay in contact with them. When you get into college, update them. Just say, hey, this is my semester is going this way. This is what I'm working on now.
Mm-hmm.
When you graduate from college and get in your new job, still keep in contact with those mentors, because you never know the networking aspect of the relationship how that will benefit you. So for me, I probably send an annual or biannual email to all of my mentors, and I'll just let them know what's been going on, what I'm up to, and how their impact helped me so much. I kind of never forget where I came from and who helped me along the way. So, we got a question. I kind of never forget where I came from and who helped me along the way. So I think it's good to always keep that in mind and just continue to reach out to those who helped you when you
Mm-hmm.
were going along your STEM journey.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you can go ahead and look at like the question. I'm gonna read it as well.
Okay, so it says, what advice do you have for other young girls who want to follow a similar path and establish a robust STEM career? Ooh, that's a good question. So, I'll start off by answering it first.
Mm-hmm.
So the advice I would have for any young girl or any young woman who wants to be or wants to have a STEM career is to, one, just take it one day at a time. The first thing, take it one day at a time. Sometimes you may not accelerate or do as well as you think you should do in certain classes. For me, as example, I got a C out of Calculus 2, which is the hardest class I've ever had to take. And as a sophomore, I began to question, like, am I really supposed to be an engineer? Can I
Mm-hmm.
really do this? So really just take it one day at a time, and just know that even if you're not the best at a subject, if you don't have an innate ability to just walk in a classroom and make an A, just study and work hard, make flashcards. I still to this day make flashcards, and just really work up to the standard that you want to be. And then the second thing I would say is to surround yourself with STEM people, with people in STEM who are women that can be your mentor. So take things one day at a time. Know that you may not learn everything as quickly as others, and that's okay. If you have to study an extra hour and some of your friends can learn what they learn in 20 minutes, then you just know in order to get to where you want to be, you have to put in that extra work. And then to, again, surround yourself with women and STEM mentors who can help you along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that as well. And just kind of like adding on, I think a lot of women in general really want themselves to be perfect and to get perfect grades. I mean, at least I know
Yep.
I'm a perfectionist, and sometimes that can kind of differ girls in like a certain direction. You know, I mean, at my school they offer, you know, AP classes and honors level classes, and I've definitely seen, you know, girls that, you know, are in classes and, you know, they're getting A minuses or B pluses or lower grades, and, you know, they get freaked out by that, and
Right.
they don't want to look at grades like that, and they just want, you know, to take easier classes. And I think that kind of goes along with, you know, my advice is to, you know, is to go for things and to take risks and to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
be able to handle things not always being perfect all the time, because, you know, the world
Right.
isn't always perfect, and, you know, engineers, it's part of our job to problem solve and to think outside the
Yep.
box. Um, yeah, so it'd probably just be, you know, to also take risks, and yeah, just kind of like go with what you're passionate about. Don't feel like, you know, because you're a girl you have to, you know, take like a lower position, or you know, you shouldn't try out for something STEM. You know, just keep everything
Right.
open, and don't let anybody limit yourself, because, you know, in the end, like, you know, that's just hurting yourself and your potential. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. And to add on to that, and I'm actually getting into one of our questions here. And another thing I'll quickly add to those who are watching us, I've noticed on Instagram that it won't let you know when your time is going to cut off. So if we're still talking and the time cuts off, guys, just know that we enjoyed your time. We thank you for your questions, and we will definitely maybe do this again in the near future. So to get into one of the questions that you made me think of, when you're a woman in STEM, don't think that you have to be twice as good. Just be yourself. If when you were 5 years old, if you had a great personality, if you were optimistic, if you were positive, just be that same person you are, even now that you're a woman in STEM. Some people feel like they have to, um, thank you, building a network and risk. Yes, that's key. That's definitely key. But some people feel as though because you're a woman in STEM, you have to work you have to work twice as hard, and you have to do better than all of the men in the room. But the one thing I will say is just do your best, of course. Always reach for your excellent, your standard of excellence that you have, but just be yourself. And in being yourself, you will allow others to see the type of person you are and the type of woman in STEM that you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and kind of adding on to that question, when I saw that question, I immediately thought of, my experience I mentioned before being in robotics. And so this year I was actually elected to be a robotics captain, which, was
Oh,
obviously
wow.
amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And it was a happy moment for me. I felt really proud of myself. And, you have to be like elected by, your peers. So I really
Mm-hmm.
felt like, I kind of like proved myself, if that makes any sense.
Right.
And yeah, so every day actually my robotics team has been, interviewing applicants for the team. And I have to say, sometimes when I'm, working with them, I feel like I have like tremendous amount of pressure on myself to, always know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing, always know exactly what to say, when to say it. If there's a question like a math question or anything that they need help on, anytime in robotics, I feel like I need to know it. I need to know
Right.
everything, and I can't mess up. And I feel like that pressure is on a lot of women, to prove themselves. And
Right.
I definitely agree with what you were saying before about, kind of just like being who you are. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it kind of like takes away from the experience to, always make sure that you're 100% perfect, because, the world isn't perfect. You're not 100% perfect, and that's okay. And it's okay to make mistakes, and it's part of learning too. If I knew everything in robotics, then, that wouldn't be any fun. I have to, have to learn, I
Right.
have to grow through it. Yeah. So.
Right. And I would definitely say the one thing that I have to do, and I talk about this with my team all the time, I had to learn as a leader, being the president, vice president, secretary, all these different things I've done, you have to learn how to delegate as well. And so for you learning that at a high school level, by the time you get to college and by the time you get to your career, you'll be a pro at it. But if you have all the weight and responsibility of the entire robotics team on you, that kind of minimizes your actual potential to actually lead. So some of the smaller tasks that you do, you can maybe think about delegating. I don't know if you guys have an executive board, maybe a secretary who sends out information about
Mm-hmm.
meetings, or a vice president, or I don't know if you guys have an executive board, but if you don't, one leadership move you can do is to be able to create that, or to just anybody you see in the group who's really goal oriented, comes to the meetings on times, always there, prepared and ready to go. You can kind of delegate tasks to those specific individuals and allow them to develop their leadership potential, because essentially everybody has the same goal of trying to eventually get to a career in STEM.
Mm-hmm.
So you could definitely develop their leadership goals and develop their leadership potential as well by delegating some tasks to them. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't feel like everything is always on you to, be the best and to always
Mm-hmm.
answer all their questions and to know everything just with yourself, because their knowledge added to yours can really, really do some great things with the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. I think I do stress myself out a lot, to really be perfect and to be the best. And, as you said, it's part of learning. And
Right.
yeah, it's part of growing too. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Just checking out any other questions that we had.
And if you guys, again, for people who are still joining, if you guys have any questions you want to ask us, just go ahead and type it in and we'll go ahead and answer them as we're answering other questions as well. And I think the next question was, if the 5-year-old you.
Oh yeah. I see that. So is that like if the 5-year-old me like saw myself now, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of question? Yeah, I mean, it's a little funny because, I'm only 17, and that,
Right.
that was only 12 years
Yeah.
ago. But I mean, I definitely think, in my lifetime I am pretty proud of, what I've been able to do. And
You are doing phenomenal.
thanks. Yeah, so I mean, I'd probably be happy and, proud of myself. And yeah, I mean, I'm thinking back to, what I was even like as a 5-year-old. I mean, I'd probably be pretty amazed, to be honest. So it's kind of nice,
Yeah.
like taking like a step back and just looking at, what you've been able to do and what you've been able to accomplish. And
Right.
I think that's really important, and just kind of like, I don't know, being confident with yourself and, growing as a
Mm-hmm.
person. Yeah.
And I think oftentimes we don't do that enough. Sometimes we don't take a step back and just really sit down and be thankful and grateful for where we are.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we're always so focused on accomplishing the next goal, working toward your next big dream, working towards your next big ambition that you've always wanted to do, that you really sometimes don't even take time to sit back and say, wow, I'm doing good.
Mm-hmm.
I've accomplished this, I've accomplished that. And really just give yourself a moment to just relax, take in where you are, to actually enjoy the process.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's actually the process in itself is what will benefit you when you get to where you're supposed to be in your desired career and your desired job. So really just taking time to sit back and just be grateful and thankful for where you are and be proud of yourself for what you've accomplished. I think that's what a lot of people need to do more of, including myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just kind of like adding on to that and what we were saying a little bit before about like pressure. I feel like mental health is actually something, not, I don't really talk too much about, because it doesn't
Yeah.
really seem exactly like directly related to, STEM, but I think it's just kind of important, just to talk about in terms of, putting pressure on yourself and, always feeling perfect. And, as we just mentioned, taking a break, chilling out a little bit,
Right.
and,
Yeah.
feeling, it's okay to feel confident and, happy with, what you're doing.
Right.
But it's also okay to, sometimes not really feel 100% perfect. And yeah, so I think especially during like a time like this, that's, so stressful. And at least for me, school and everything kind of going on is a little crazy, a little,
Right.
different. But definitely like continuing talking with friends, networking with people. And, I really think that, as women in STEM organizations grow and work together, we can
Mm-hmm.
support each other more, which I really love about this community, is really being able to support
Right.
each other and connect with each other.
Right. And what you said about taking a break, I think the biggest thing with people who are like us, really goal oriented, really driven, you have to know when you have to take a break. And for me, that time period was when I was in graduate school getting my master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually I'm working on my doctoral degree now. But back when I went through college, went straight from high school, of course, straight into college, went through 4 hard years studying every day, working really hard, being the leader of a lot of extracurricular activities, still accomplishing all of my academic goals, graduated in 2014. And then I went straight into my master's degree, getting that in engineering management. And as soon as I got into the program, I was like, I got to chill, because my body physically told me that, you have to go take a rest. You have to
Yeah.
stop.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up taking a semester off in graduate school. I came back stronger and better than ever. But it's important to know when you need to just take a rest, have a night, get your friends together, go to the movies, go walk around the mall, maybe just get online, do some online shopping, do something that kind of decompresses the stress of our field before you get to the point where you have to take an extenuating long break. Because when I took my break in graduate school, I took a whole semester off.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, it was a semester and a half. So I got to that place where I had to take a break because I didn't take breaks, in undergrad. So
Mm-hmm.
that's so important that you've learned that early, to just kind of take a break. When you get an A on a test, kind of reward yourself. Like I said, go to the movies, go to the mall, just do something relaxing that'll decompress the stress of it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's great that you were kind of able to realize that. I feel like a lot of times it's hard for me to, say no to things, and it's hard for me to, take a
Mhm.
break because there's so many
Yeah,
things to do and such little time to do it. Like I want to do everything. But it's important to, make sure your mental health is good, make sure that you're
right.
recharged and that you can, give your everything to what you're going to be able to doing next. So I definitely agree,
Yep.
chilling, relaxing a little bit, spending time with friends and family, times like that, it's important. Just kind of like thinking about like just life in general. Like it's a little like
Yep.
philosophical or abstract or whatever, but it's important to be able to, take some time and, enjoy life and be able to, get back into whatever you're doing and really enjoy that too. Yeah, so I think that it's great to, that we send out that message that it's okay to,
Yeah.
take breaks sometimes.
Take a break. Yep.
All
All
right.
right.
Checking out some
The
other.
next question, oh, we kind of answered this already. The next question was, what advice would you give to a girl or woman who wants to have a STEM career? So maybe just to reiterate some things that we said to the question that was given to us. And again, send your questions in if you have them, guys. Take breaks, get mentors and women in STEM that you want to be like, that you aspire to be like, that who inspire you. take it one day at a time, take risk. That was kind of the gist that we said around what advice we would give to women in STEM.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm just checking out any other last minute questions. And, as you mentioned before, if any of you guys have any questions or anything, then, we're here and happy to answer anything.
Right. And the next one was, how can girls and women be retained in STEM education and STEM careers? So I think when we talk about retention in STEM, that's something that's hard in itself. As I said, when you get in your first math class in college, and for me, it was definitely kind of mind blowing to see that one math problem could literally take up a whole classroom board. It was kind of intimidating. So I think I was able to eventually go year by year by year by year and eventually graduate with my engineering degree because I surrounded myself with people who were goal oriented and who had the same vision that I did. So we would go to the cafeteria, grab something to eat, and then a few of my friends, we kind of had our engineering group, we would get together and then go study. So I think retention in STEM can be done if you surround yourself with people who are along the same path as you, who are working toward the same goal, and you guys can kind of keep each other motivated and encouraged throughout the duration of your years in college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess my answer to that question was, very similar to that. And I really think, surrounding yourself with supportive people. I mean, we were just talking about before how, I had a very supportive, growing up with, Odyssey of the Mind and robotics. And, my parents are very, very supportive of, my endeavors. And I think, not only can your family be supportive, but, friends and just people around you.
Yep.
I think the environment that you put yourself in and, people
Mm-hmm.
that you hang out with, things like that, they can really change, how you feel. And I remember, actually, I don't know if she's still on this live, but actually, this woman who her name's Miss Bethany Bongiorno.
Oh, she's there. I see your comment. She's there.
Yeah, I don't know if she's like viewing anymore, but I just we interviewed her a couple of months ago, and I remember her saying that she felt like it was so important to surround yourself with people and a community that kind of like supports you. And I remember her she was explaining how she sometimes felt like a little bit like whenever she would be interviewed or something like that, she's like a CEO, and she felt like they would always assume that her husband was the CEO. And and how she said that when they're looking for people to add to, their team, they look for people that are supportive and that, aren't going to be like these judgmental people who are going to, put like the whole entire team down. So I definitely 100% agree with, surrounding yourself with supportive people, mentors. And I really, I commend just like our community in general because, I mean, just thinking about history, like women's history, just in general, we've come a long way, and we're making changes. And if you look at just percentages, it's great. It's really improving, and we still have a ways to go. And we still have stereotypes that we still have to go against. But we're doing it together. We're supporting each other, and that's what matters.
Right. That's excellent. That's excellent. All right, so the next question was, when you were younger, what was someone in your field that influenced you to pursue a STEM career? So, as I said, I don't think that I had anyone specifically when I was younger that influenced me to have a STEM career. I kind of was just always good at math. My mom let me know that growing up on my dad's side, some of his family members were Tuskegee Airmen, and that they had a great aptitude for math, and that when she would see me at a young age doing those math problems, I took like to my sophomore and my junior year of high school, I was in summer school classes to get ahead, not necessarily because I did bad in the subject, but I would take summer classes to get ahead. So when she would see me doing all of my work and all of my studying, she kind of just would say, you've always been a great math, and you've always been able to excel and do great in math and science. And for me, it wasn't necessarily anyone that influenced me when I was younger. It was kind of just me always being good at the subject.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got to about your age, I had, as I said earlier, my mom and my godmom and the woman I mentioned earlier who influenced me to kind of really take it to the next level and say, this is what you can do. This is what you're made for. This is where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, no, and I think I had a person like that before. I think I might have mentioned it, but when I did Odyssey of the Mind, I had a mentor, and I remember she brought us to her house, and her basement was filled with like heavy metal, like power tools, and I thought that it was the most amazing thing to see her, like drilling things. Like, I mean, I was in 5th grade, so it was very foreign to me, and to be able to see like this woman kind of like be so powerful almost, and to have such skill and to not be afraid at all. She was definitely not afraid to get in there and to show us. And she really showed me what it was like to be kind of like a confident woman in STEM. And I mean, it was honestly just like this small 5th grade program. Well, I shouldn't say small, it's a really big thing, and I really think that hopefully in the future I can become a mentor as well with that program, and other programs as well, kind of similarly to what you're doing too. And that's what I'm hoping to do through Girl Tech Boss is not only to share my own experiences, but to bring women like you and Bethany, who was on earlier, like to share women's stories and experiences, and I don't know, just like show girls that it's okay, and that like be confident and be brave and take risks. And I just think that her mentoring me in 5th grade just really set me up to I that summer I actually decided to enroll in robotics, and now I'm still doing robotics. So everything changed after that one experience. And I mean, I'm still in contact with her today, not as much as I wish, but she definitely really motivated me and empowered me. So yeah,
that's awesome. And I think, like, as I said earlier, definitely keep in contact with her. Definitely always share your wins with her. Keep her abreast of all of your, once you go to college, where you're going, what your major is, because it means so much to them when they see what their impact had on you and their students that they were helping and mentoring. So I would definitely say keep in contact with her, keep in contact with some of the students who were in the Odyssey of the Mind program with you, and kind of use that experience and use that time frame in your life to catapult you into where you want to be. Even though it was in 5th grade, you can still reference those moments. You can still reference those experiences and those people that you had those robotics competitions with, and all of those dynamic things that you did back then. You can still draw from those experiences, and that can definitely help you when you are going toward your college degree or a degree you want to pursue post college too.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we have any questions left. I'm just scrolling through, and if anybody on the live has any other questions, then
if anybody has any questions, please feel free to chime in. I think we had about 2 left. The next one was just, I guess, for us to just discuss how long we've been in STEM and how long we want to be in STEM. So for me, I've been in STEM. I took all of the STEM classes when I was in high school, the math, the calculus, pre-calculus, trig. So I would say I've been in STEM since I was about 16. And I'll probably stay in STEM for the rest of my life. As I said, one of my goals, one of my dreams is to kind of inspire and impact others in a way that I necessarily didn't have growing up. I didn't have any programs where I saw different nationalities, different groups of people in STEM. So I kind of want to create that atmosphere for those students who are growing up currently now, and kind of just to always remember that your life has a greater purpose other than you just being here every day. And you shouldn't just go through the motions of getting up, going to work, getting up, going to school, but kind of just ask yourself what you're passionate about and kind of work towards that. So I think I'll be in STEM for a while.
Yeah, no, I think when you find that you're so passionate about something and you feel so motivated, I think it's great. That you're so inspired and you're doing great things.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I kind of already said this, but definitely fifth grade was the year that I really figured out like the whole STEM passion thing. I think at first it wasn't exactly STEM. I think it was,
Hmm.
obviously I was just in fifth grade. I didn't have anything figured out at all.
Right.
And it was really building, and like putting things
Hmm.
together. So that's, when robotics, and then of course in robotics you have to program your robot. So then I got into coding, and
Right.
I think my middle school actually did a great job of, we actually had this program called Peer Leaders, and I was a STEM peer leader. So I basically did, STEM classes, and I learned, and then I taught kids as well. Um, yeah, so I think that's kind of my whole upbringing in terms of STEM. And I mean, I
Right.
definitely agree. I mean, I don't want to exactly, as I said before, plan out my future exactly.
Right.
I'm going to
Right.
still stay open to all different types of opportunities, and who knows, what the future holds for either of us.
Right.
And I mean, but I definitely know in terms of, college and things like that, I'm definitely going to be majoring in engineering. And
Oh,
you know,
wow.
kind of just going with that and seeing, what different projects I can do with engineering, because I feel like engineering is applicable everywhere. I mean,
Right.
engineer in the medical field, you can engineer in
Hmm.
really any field. It's problem solving and, thinking outside the box, which I really think is, applicable everywhere. And that's, our
Hmm.
world needs problem solvers and, people who
Right.
think outside the box. So,
I definitely agree. Yep.
yeah, so I mean, who knows what the future holds, but I mean, I'm very excited, and I think if we continue as women to support each other and we continue to
Right.
grow and motivate each other, then that's gonna really boost what we can do in the future. So yeah.
Right. I definitely think where you are now is preparing you for such a great career and life in STEM. You have done so much
Thanks.
to that has prepared you for the different valleys and peaks of a STEM career.
Hmm.
You choosing an engineering degree, you've kind of already gone through the day-to-day basics of what it takes to get that done. In college in high school, you're taking, I'm sure, your math classes, your science classes. You're preparing yourself, and you're doing the work now to have a successful term in college, which is great.
Hmm.
Have you decided maybe what type of engineering degree you want to pursue?
I mean, right now I'm thinking electrical engineering, but I'm not
Okay.
exactly sure. Actually, kind of like also talking about mentors, my mom is actually a chemical engineer, which
Oh,
I haven't even
wow.
mentioned her this entire time, but she has always been very supportive of, engineering. She wasn't shoving it on me or anything.
Right.
She wanted me to, find my own way, but I think also having her in my life too,
Hmm.
um, and kind of like seeing her in engineering, I just kind of grew up without anybody really suppressing like my interests in STEM. And
Right.
I mean, I think now, being doing robotics and being out there and taking classes, I do see the limits, the stereotypes, things like that. But because I was raised in kind of like an environment where my mom was an engineer, and in fifth grade meeting that woman who was so confident and powerful, engineer as well. I never really grew up seeing women as anything less than
Right.
being able to be confident engineers. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure maybe electrical engineering, something like that, maybe chemical engineering. I have to say I'm definitely very interested in physics. Physics is my favorite class at
Oh,
school,
wow.
and yeah, so I mean, as I mentioned before, who knows what the future holds, and I'm just very excited for college and experiences before
Right.
then. I mean, I'm a junior, so I have a couple months college application process and everything, but I'm just keeping everything open and
Yeah.
looking at all different types of opportunities. So yeah.
That's great. And it's so good that you have your mom as an example, because
Mhm.
growing up, you were able to see, like you said, a dynamic woman in STEM. She was your first example. So you have someone who to ask questions, who can answer your questions that you want to ask. You have someone you can confide in. You have someone who's kind of walked the line of where you're headed. So
Mhm.
that's awesome that you are able to use her and draw from her experiences as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I
Do you have
think we
any
have
other
one last
questions?
question. Oh, we already answered this one though. This was the last question we had. And like I said, guys, if you have any more, role models are important. Yes, role models are definitely important, and they can really change your idea or what you think about any industry. So they're definitely important, and I would definitely tell anyone, even if like I said, my age, I'm 28, I still need a role model. You know, I still have a long ways to go in my career. So
Mm-hmm.
role models are definitely important, and they actually give you vision for you to see what the potential life could be for you if you just continue to work hard and continue to go down the path that you're going.
Mm-hmm.
That last question that we had was, do you feel pressure to be twice as good because you're a woman in STEM? We answered this earlier. And again, just to kind of go over what we said, not necessarily for me, I don't feel the pressure to be twice as good. I kind of just try to always be myself in
Mm-hmm.
all the situations, in any situation that I encounter, and to remember when I am myself, people will just naturally draw to that because it's you're being original. It's only one you're unique. So just kind of be yourself in all situations, work hard, do your best, and don't feel like you have to be twice as good just because you're a woman in STEM. Just make sure you know what you're supposed to know, and then long as you know what you're supposed to know, come to meetings prepared, come to class prepared. If you're prepared, that'll always be the great platform for you to be able and ready for opportunities that come your way. And as long as you're prepared, I feel like you won't have to be twice as good because you'll be ready and able to do anything and everything.
Yeah, I really think that's very important, not only for other people to hear, but for myself. I definitely, we talked about this before, at least, I said that I do feel that pressure. So, that's definitely something I have to really work on. And yeah, no, I really understand what you're saying here. And I think it's so valuable. I feel like, we do have high expectations for ourselves, and it's good. It's good to have, ambitions and goals and
Mm-hmm.
dreams, and to want the best for yourself. But,
Right.
piling on that pressure and, having such high, you know, needing to be perfect all the time.
Right.
Those things are just, they're suffocating. You have to keep
Right.
yourself open, and it's okay to make mistakes. I feel like that's something that I'm learning, and I have learned more this year, is especially with robotics, and not everything's going to work out perfectly. You're not going to
Yeah.
run like a program and it work perfectly every single time. You're not going to build something it's going to work all the time either.
Right.
So yeah, so I definitely agree that having like such pressure on yourself isn't healthy, and to
Right.
to still be ambitious, and to still have expectations, but it's good to let yourself breathe a little bit and be
Right.
okay with making
Yeah.
mistakes.
Yeah. And to be honest, when you do make mistakes, those are always the great opportunities where you learn.
Hmm.
So when you don't put that pressure on yourself to feel twice as good, you kind of just, like I said, make sure you're prepared, make sure you know what you know, and then go with that. If a mistake comes, and you'll be able to learn from that mistake and apply that lesson to multiple things that you are able to do in the future.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, that was our last question. If you guys don't have any more questions for us, I just would like to thank you for your time. And again, just tell you, I know I've said this 5 times, but you are doing so well. You are goal oriented and you have vision already at such a young age. So just remember, take things one day at a time. I started out with saying that. And just remember that, the sky isn't the limit. You can go past any threshold that you place on yourself. So
Hmm.
always remember to be ambitious. Always remember to just study hard. And if you're always prepared for great opportunities when they come, you'll be able to excel in anything that you do.
Hmm. Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. Just hearing that, I feel like is really motivating and empowering. And just what I was saying before about women supporting women is so key, so
Yeah.
important, and us being able to develop more, and to cut out all these stereotypes that are just limiting us. So yeah, I
Right.
really enjoyed this chat, and I really hope that
Me too. Me
continue to
too.
maybe work together or do something in the future.
Yes. Yes, definitely. I definitely look forward to more collaborations in the future. And guys, we thank you so much for your time as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, no, definitely.
All right. Have a
Yeah.
good afternoon, guys.
You too. Stay safe.
All right. Stay safe, guys. Have a good one.